All right, today we are making ginormous cookies. These huge chocolate chip cookies are kind of a bakery style chocolate chip cookie. They're really, really big and fat and puffy, and they're brown butter chocolate chip cookies. You're not gonna wanna miss it. It's Dorothy with crazyforcrust.com and welcome back to my kitchen. Today, again, it's all about cookies. I love cookies, you love cookies. I have a cookbook for pre-order that's all about cookies, which is linked down below. Today we're making brown butter chocolate chip cookies. So this is kind of a version of my absolute best chocolate chip cookie recipe, but I'm using brown butter and they're really, really thick and puffy. I originally created this recipe as a copycat of the Disneyland chocolate chip cookies. They're even better than the ones you get in Disneyland. And they're just super, super delicious. They remind me of those ones you get at the bakery when you're like, oh, I can't wait to go to this bakery and get those cookies. This is what that reminds me of, and I know that you're gonna love them. For more delicious desserts and easy recipes, be sure to subscribe to my channel. Now let's get in the kitchen. These cookies start with brown butter. So to brown your butter, you need to add 2 sticks, 1 cup of unsalted butter to a saucepan and put it on the stove over medium-low heat. I really like to start with the butter sliced because it melts faster that way. Now the amount of time it takes for your butter to brown will depend on how big your pan is, how hot your stove is, the surface area ratio of heat to the pan will depend, but it's gonna take several minutes for your butter to brown. Now, why do we wanna make brown butter? Brown butter, it adds a lot of flavor into the butter. It gets nice and nutty and that like concentrates that butter flavor. It's so good. It's great in baked goods. It's really, really good on vegetables. I mean, brown butter is like delicious. So definitely don't skip this step. Now you're going to just melt that butter and you're gonna let it keep melting until it gets nice and foamy, and then it's gonna start to brown. So this again is gonna take several minutes. Stir it occasionally, just keep an eye on it. Don't walk away, because the second you walk away, it's gonna burn. And once it starts to brown, it's going to brown really, really quickly, and it will go from browned to burned really fast. So just once it starts to foam, you're gonna notice that you're gonna keep stirring it, kind of look beneath that foam to see if once it starts to turn brown, you'll notice if you look carefully that the foam will start to get slightly golden. Then you're done, remove it from the heat. Now when you're browning butter, be sure to use unsalted. I know that a lot of times in my recipes, I say if you're using salted butter, it's fine, here's an adaptation, but don't brown salted butter because browning butter concentrates the flavor, and if you're using salted butter, it's just gonna concentrate that salt. It's not gonna be as good. So make sure you're using unsalted butter for this recipe. Go ahead and add all of that brown butter into a large bowl. You can use a stand mixer. I'm gonna use a hand mixer today, use either one. Make sure and scrape all the little brown bits off the bottom of your pan. That's where all the deliciousness is. To the brown butter, add 1 cup of packed brown sugar and 3/4 of a cup of granulated sugar. Mix that together. And then mix in 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract with 1 teaspoon of baking soda and 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. Mix those in along with 2 large eggs. You can also add a teaspoon of almond extract for some extra flavor. Then add 3 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour and mix that until it's smooth. You're gonna stir that together. It's gonna be a nice, thick cookie dough. And then we're going to add mini chocolate chips. You can use regular, but I like the mini chips because I feel like they get all throughout the cookie and you get even more chocolate per bite. Now you'll notice that some of the chocolate chips are gonna melt because that mixture is still warm. Don't worry about it, it makes them taste even better. Now, a really important step in this recipe is chilling. One, because we started with the brown butter that was liquid, we need to chill the dough, otherwise they'll just spread all over the place. But also, this is really important for this dough. Chocolate chip cookie dough tastes so much better once it has had time to rest and sit and all those flavors melt together. So I think it is really important to chill the dough. So you're gonna wanna chill this overnight. I know it's really hard to wait, but don't worry, it's worth it. You can make these cookies any size you want. 1 tablespoon, 2 tablespoons, eyeball it, whatever you want. I am making ginormous cookies using a 1/4 cup full of dough for each cookie. I have one of these handy dandy ice cream scoops that measures out 1/4 cup for me. I will link that down below. I highly recommend cookie scoops. They make scooping cookie dough so much easier. So you're gonna scoop these onto a cookie sheet. Make sure it's lined with either parchment or a Silpat. You don't have to spread them out because we are gonna chill this. Because I'm chilling this dough overnight, you're gonna wanna cover it with plastic wrap and then go ahead and pop that in the refrigerator and wait until the next day. And by the magic of video, it's been 24 hours and it is now time to bake our cookies. So we're gonna spread these out a little. They actually won't flatten as much as like a regular cookie would because they're so thick and because they've been chilled. You'll notice that the dough is really rock hard at this point. You can't even press it down with your palm. That's totally fine. That's what it's supposed to do. So go ahead and spread these out. You don't have to spread them out 100%, but I would spread them out a little bit more than you normally would on a cookie sheet. So depending on the size, you can either get 2 or 3 to a row. And you're gonna bake these at 350 degrees. You're gonna bake them first for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, you're gonna take them out of the oven and very carefully with either the palm of your hand or like the bottom of a glass or a measuring cup that's been sprayed with nonstick spray. Don't want you to burn yourself, so if you don't wanna use your hands, don't. My hands are pretty much like anti-burn at this point, but don't use your hands if you're worried about it because it is really hot. Go ahead and just kind of lightly press down the cookies just a little tiny bit so they're a little bit flat on top. That way that they won't be like little mountains on your cookie sheet. And then you're gonna pop them back in the oven for an additional 5 to 8 minutes. They'll lose the glossy sheen on top, but they're gonna stay nice and gooey in the center. When they come out of the oven, my tip for making super pretty, gooey looking chocolate chip cookies is to add a few more chocolate chips on the top. So go ahead and do that. If you do that step, don't stack them until the chocolate chips have had time to like harden and the cookies have cooled. Otherwise it'll get all gooey mess everywhere. But it just adds a little bit of extra flair and a little bit of extra chocolate flavor because more chocolate's always better. Once you have your cookies all done, they are ginormous. These are cooled so I can touch them. The chocolate's not gonna smear all over. Look how big they are. They're like the size of the palm of my hand. They're thick and they are like they have that chocolate chip cookie smell and these are so good. That brown butter adds so much to this cookie recipe. I know you're going to love it. My daughter tasted them and was like, oh my God, Mom, these are fantastic. And you know, I have a lot of chocolate chip cookie recipes on my site and I really do think this is the first recipe I ever created and I do think that these are one of the best ones. So I know you're gonna love them. Leave me a comment and let me know what kind of mix-ins did you just leave them plain chocolate or would you use regular chocolate chips instead of mini? And keep watching for even more cookie recipes.